Hi, it's Paul here from Ebon Sky Studios, and today I'm going to be doing a new Sable video. So in today's video we're going to get to see a few new features, plus we'll also get to see some features which we didn't get a chance to see in the original Sable video series. So I'm intending this to be a two-part video. So basically the first video that we're going to do today will show the new features being added and how to add them, and then I'll do a follow-up video in the next couple of weeks which will be a playthrough, and that's when we'll actually get to see all the new features we've added in action in a playable game environment. So let's go ahead and add some stuff to the map. So I'm already in Sable. Just before the video I created an empty map that's just full of lots of snow terrain tiles, which you can hear me walking around now. So one of the questions I get asked quite a lot with Sable is there any way you can create shops or a way of the player being able to buy and sell stuff in game? And the answer is yes. So if we go to our object creation menu,
Objects, please select object to place, merchant.
And there's an object called the merchant object. Now a merchant works much the same way as an NPC, so if you want you can give them voice lines so the player can talk to them, but also they can buy and sell stuff as well. So let's create a merchant.
Please enter merchant's name, edit semicolon.
Let's
D-I-P-P-L-E-R. Please enter merchant's description. This will be announced if would you like to use a pre-recorded voice.
Let's give them a pre-recorded voice.
Yes. Select sound set.
The next thing we can do is we can give them a sound set. So as with NPCs you can give them their own unique sounds. They don't always have to have that sort of coughing sound when you reach them. You give them whatever sound you wanted. Just before I made this map I created a sound set for our merchant. Let's select
Diddler.
I gave it its own unique radar sound, so as we get closer to him he's selling meat pies, so you'll hear him calling out that he's selling meat pies, and when we actually reach him, rather than him sort of making that throat clearing coughing sound that you usually hear with NPCs, I've given him his own unique one that will actually make him greet us and he'll say morning to us. So let's select that.
Please select the initial speech that will be spoken when the Diddler line 1. Would you like to add more dialogue?
No.
Please enter as a percentage the merchant's greed. 0.
Okay,
and 0.
So here we can set the merchant's greed. Now the merchant's greed will determine how much profit they'll make when they sell stuff or buy stuff from you. So I'm going to set this to 25%. This will mean the merchant will sell everything for 25% more than it's worth, and also if you try and sell anything to him he'll buy it off you for 25% less than it's worth. I actually really like this mechanic because it means you can have different merchants throughout your game, all with different greed levels, so there could be merchants that are a lot more advantageous to buy and sell from than others. So anyway, let's set that.
Please select items you would like the merchant to sell.
Next we have to give him some items to sell, so since he's a meat pie salesman, let's give him some meat pies to sell.
Meat pie, 6 gold.
There we go. Now, a new feature I've recently added is you can specify the amount or the quantity that a merchant will stock. So I'm going to give him an infinite supply of meat pies.
Meat pie, 6 gold, infinite stock added.
And that means you could just keep coming back to him and he'll always have some for sale. But let's say you want your merchants to stock, say, a more rare item. You might only want them to have one in stock, and once you've brought it you can't buy another one or a couple. So let's go
Potion, 8 gold.
Potion to sell. And let's say he's got...
How many would you like to add? Edit semicolon 1.
We'll just give him one to sell, and that means once you've brought that one potion off him, he won't have any more potions to sell.
Potion, 8 gold, 1 added.
Okay, so let's finish adding stuff, and now let's place the merchant on the map.
Diddler.
Morning.
There he is. So if we step away, you'll hear him calling out that he's selling meat pies.
Diddler.
Morning.
And when we reach him, you hear his little custom greeting to us. So anyway, we'll come back in the playthrough and we'll talk to him and we'll buy and sell some stuff for him. But for the moment, let's head further south to the caverns of the south. Here we go. Now, I wanted to create a huge wrought iron gate leading into the caverns. Now, we've seen us create doors from one map to another, but I want to show something slightly different here. So, rather than a door, because I want this to be bigger than a door, because like I say, I want it to be a huge iron gate. So, you've got something in the object menu called...
Objects, please signpost, size transition.
A size transition, and this is where you can create a transition or a door leading to another area either on the same map or a different map, but you can make it as big as you like. So there's lots of different reasons you might want to make that bigger within your game. But yeah, it's a nice little feature, and also it's got some other unique features which we'll see as we're creating the size transition. So let's select that.
Please select which type of transition you would like.
So the first thing we can select is whether it's a manual transition, which is like how normal doors work, which is when the player reaches them they need to press the action key to go through, or you can have an automatic transition, which means as soon as the player steps on it they'll be transported to the other end of the transition. So
auto transition, manual transition.
let's say manual transition,
so the player to press the action key to act. Please enter transition name, edit semicolon.
Let's call it
A-U-G-U-R-O-U-G-A-E-R-O-I-R-O-N-I-G-A-E.
not very inventive, but that'll do.
Please enter a description for the transition edit semi. Please select map with the transition will lead to.
Going to lead to map 2.
Map 2. Please select transition cursor sound. This is open wood door 2. Open dot gate. Please select sound that will play when the player goes through the transition. Large gate close. Would you like the transition to appear on the player map? Does the transition start in a locked state?
No. Okay, so now we're going to place the transition, so let's do that.
Warning, placing a door to another map will save your yes.
It's just reminding me to say that it's going to save the game before I place the set.
Size transition mode active. Press and keep the shift key held down, then use the arrow keys to size your transition. Once satisfied with the shape and size, release the shift key to place the transition. Press escape to exit the size transition creator.
Okay, so this works much the same way as the building creator, so let's place a size transition. Let's make it, say, 5 tiles big.
Length 2, width 0, length 3, width 0, length 4, width 0, length 5. This door will now take you to the selected map. Please place the exit. Once placed, you will be returned back to the originally placed door. Now find the new location for the exit and place using the return key.
Okay, so let's place the exit.
Would you like to set the exit different attributes to the entrance?
No.
Exit placed, returning to previous location. Return to originally placed door.
And we're back outside. So if I come north,
huge wrought iron gate.
And I'm at the huge wrought iron gate. But as you see, if I walk left a little bit,
huge wrought iron
you can see it takes up more than one space. So yeah, so like I say, that can be an interesting mechanic. But anyway, let's save the map.
Game menu, please save map. Saving, game saved.
And we'll go through the iron gate and end up in the caverns, and we'll build the next stuff in the caverns.
Warning, this will close the current map with any changes.
Yeah, that's fine. And we're now inside the cavern. I forgot to mention at the start of the video, by the way, but if you didn't see it on our Facebook profile page, we've actually added screen reader support in as an experimental feature to Sable. So throughout the video so far, the speech output has actually been using my JAWS screen reader rather than Sappy, and that's what you'll see throughout the rest of the video as well. So anyway, let's add a few items to inside our cavern. So something I get asked a lot is in the object creation menu, there's an option for creating barrels and chests. But people have asked, what if I want to create something more unique than a barrel or a chest? And there's a way of doing that too, so let's show how that's done.
Objects, chest, container.
So there's a container object. Now this is like a blank object that you can pretty much turn into whatever you want to the container to be. To sort of emphasize that, we're going to create something. I'm going to create a corpse which the player can search and find some items on. So let's do that.
Please enter a name for the CORPSE. Please enter a description for the container edit semi. Please select container cursor sound.
Okay, so this is the sound the player will hear when they first land on the same tile as the corpse. Let's test that. Yeah, I think that sounds sufficiently like standing on a corpse, I guess.
Would you like to turn off or set this container a custom radar sound?
Let's give it a radar sound.
Yes. Please select radar sound.
Since it's a corpse, let's give it the sound of some flies buzzing around it. That'll be what's played as you sort of get closer and closer to the corpse.
Would you like to add a unique open and close? Yes.
And you can add your own unique opening and closing sounds to the container as well. So I created some sounds of the player searching the corpse, so let's select that
sound set. Corpse. Please select items you would like to put in the corpse. Golden
give
statue.
It some items the player can find.
Teeth.
Let's give it some teeth.
One added.
And maybe some potions. A bit like the merchant as well, you can specify how many you want it to find. So let's say we wanted to find the player to be able to find 2 potions.
How many would you add? 1, 2. Potion, 2 added.
2 added. There you go. Let's place the corpse on the floor.
Corpse.
And if we walk away, you can hear, there you go, the buzzing of the flies in the background as we get further away. And as we reach it,
corpse.
There's the corpse. And now if we want to search the corpse, let's press the action key.
You found the following items. Select an item to add potion, XP.
And there we go. So let's leave the corpse alone now. Okay, it's a bit grim, but hopefully it sort of shows the point of how you can create your own unique containers. And again, you could use that to create whatever you want. It may be drawers, cabinets, a box that the player finds something in, whatever you want. So yeah, it's a really powerful tool. Now, the next thing I want to do is, this cavern is actually 2 levels high, and I want the second level to be like the roof of the cavern, and I want the player to be able to climb up through a hole in the cavern up to the roof where it's stormy weather. So let's do that, and we're going to do that using the object transition.
Objects. Please select object
door
to place.
Transition object, I should
door
say.
/ transition. Please enter door name edit semicolon.
So it's going to be vines that the player climbs up.
Please enter a description for the door edit semicolon. Task switching. Star text description.
I've already written out a description.
Star text description. Vines creep up the wall. Home. Vines. Sable engine. Alpha 1.67.15. To move to a night. Vines creep up the wall leading. Please select map with the door will lead to.
It's going to lead to the
map
same
2.
map.
Please select door cursor sound. This is the sound play vines.
This is the sound that will play when we first land on the spot with the vines. There we go.
Please select sounds that will play when the player climbing down, climbing up.
Got a climbing up vine sound. Let's
Would you
get
like
that.
the door to appear on the player map? Does the door start in?
No. Okay, so now let's place the vines.
Now find the new location for the exit and clip.
So we now need to place where the vines are going to lead to. So I'm going to use the creator tool to climb up to the second level. We can tell we're on the first level of
X11, Y1, Z1, dirt.
Here it says Z1. Let's climb up. This is just using the creator tool to climb between levels, which is what that stair climbing sound is. Let's check our coordinates
X11,
up here.
Y1, Z2, dirt.
And you can see we're now on Z2, so we're on the upper level. Let's place the exit to the vines up here.
Would you like to set the exit different attributes? Exit place,
No.
returning to previous location, return to originally
And
placed
we're
door.
now down at the bottom. We can check our
X11,
coordinates
Y1,
here.
Z1, dirt.
So we're back on the ground level. If we walk away,
Vines.
here's the vines. We can check their description. Let's read this.
Vines creep up the wall leading to an opening in the cavern roof through which you can see the storm raging above. Press the action key to climb the vines.
Okay, so then we can press the action key to climb the vines. One of the things we want to do, because I've said there's a storm going on above, and I want to emphasise that once we've climbed through, we're on the outside of the cave. So I want the actual music to change once the player climbs the vines. So we can do that by adding an event trigger to the vines.
Vines.
Just add it. Let's do that.
Please select if you wish for a cutscene or music change. If change map music.
I want to change the map music once we've used this door transition.
Select music
So,
you would like. Say Thunderstorm 2.
this is what I want to play once we've reached the top. That's the sound.
Enter any text you would like spoken when music changes. Leave blank if you select event trigger. Enter any text you event trigger added.
Okay, so there we go. We've added an event trigger. So now in the play game, when we climb up this and you hear the player climbing the vine sound, once they reach the top, it will change over to the storm sound to emphasise the players outside. And again, this just shows how you can use door transitions to transition from one part of the map to another, but also how you can get the music to change when they get to another place to really emphasise the players in a different part of the map there. So the next thing I want to show is I quite often get asked from players if there's a way of players creating kind of obstacles or things for the player to jump over. There isn't a direct way of doing that, but there is a way of doing something similar to that, and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to create a pit for the player to be able to jump over. So what
Terrain
I'm
menu,
going
please
to do
select.
is
Terrain menu, please select tile top dirt.
okay, so first we're going to create a pit that the player won't be able to get across. So I'm just going to change my brush size here slightly.
Brush size set to 3.
Okay.
Brush size set to 3.
Okay, so let me just
Brush size set to 1.
brush size back to 1. I'm going to label this
Custom name,
pit.
enter name, E-I-T-T.
Okay.
Leaving pit.
Okay, so there you go. We've left the pit, or if we head right,
Pit. Leaving pit.
there's the pit, so it's sort of 3 tiles wide. Now, obviously, that's not very exciting because we want a player to not be able to actually walk over the pit like that. So we're going to add some wall tiles, which I don't think we've seen before, but wall tiles work similarly to terrain tiles. You can place them wherever you want, but they block a player off from going to a certain area. So we're going to block the player off from being able to get to that pit.
Wall of collision sounds. Edge of cliff 1.
This is the sound I'm going to use. Let's just test it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that sounds like a player at the edge of the pit type sound, so let's use that. And let's just place that all along the edge of the pit
Edge
on
of
the
edge of edge of
right-hand
edge of
side.
cliff 1.
And let's now go to the left-hand
Pit.
side,
Leaving pit.
and let's place it down the left-hand
Edge
side.
of edge of edge of edge of cliff 1.
Now, you'll notice it didn't actually play the edge of cliff sound because we're in debug mode, so you can walk, not debug mode, sorry, edit mode, so you can walk through walls because, again, as a creator, you don't want to always be going around walls. If I want to activate the walls, I can.
Walls activated.
Let me just do that.
Whoa.
And now if I head to the left, let's go up here where
Vines.
the vines are. If I try and head right,
Whoa.
there's the edge of the cliff, and I can't
Whoa.
walk any further right. It's just preventing me doing that. And again, there's if I just deactivate
Walls
the wall,
deactivated. Edge of cliff 1. Pit.
there's the pit in the middle, and if I keep walking to the right,
Leaving pit.
there's the wall the
Edge
other
of cliff
side
1.
there. So
Pit.
there you go.
Leaving pit.
So right, let's go back to the left-hand side where the vines are,
Vines.
and let's activate
Walls
the walls.
activated.
Whoa.
There's the edge of the pit. So now we want to find a way of the player actually being able to get over that pit. So I'm going to do, oddly, I'm going to use a door or transition object to do that. So
Objects.
let's do
Please select
this.
objects to place. Door slash trans. Please enter door name edit semicolon.
We're going to call this
E D G E H O F of C H A S M. Please enter a description for the door edit semicolon.
I did a
Star
wrote
text
a
description
for this.
Star
a
text
moment
is
ago.
blank. The chasm is too wide to home. The
Just
chasm.
copy that and
Task
paste
switching.
it into
Sable
the
engine. Alpha
box here.
1.6. The chasm is too wide to. Please select map with the door will lead to.
It's going to lead
Map
to the
two.
same map,
Please
obviously.
select door cursor sound. This is the
I'm
sound
gonna
played when
have
the edge of cliff 1.
Edge of cliff sound.
Please select sounds that will play when the player goes through the
I'm
door.
going to have
Press
a
escape to
swing
set it
over
remote
the
sound.
cliff, over the pit sound. So let's just select that.
Stairs. Stone underline swing over pit. Would you like the door to appear on the player map? Does the door start in a...
No. So let's place the the start of the transition this side of the pit.
Now find the new location for the exit and place using the return key.
Walls.
Walls deactivate. Edge of cliff 1.
Let's climb
Pit.
over the pit, because we can do that
Leaving pit.
edit mode, and I've deactivated the walls. And let's activate the walls now with
Walls
the other
activated.
side. Now if I head to the left,
Whoa.
there's the left-hand side of the pit. Let's place the exit to the transition here.
Would you like to set the exit different
Oh.
exit placed? Returning to previous location. Return to originally placed door.
And now, we should be back where the vines are.
Vines.
And if I head to the right, it should now take us to the edge of the cliff.
Edge
Whoa,
of, edge
whoa.
of chasm.
Edge of the chasm, sorry. And I could check the description, because we gave this transition a description. Let's check that.
The chasm is too wide to jump. Press the action key to swing across.
Okay, so let's try that. And it swung me from one side of the chasm to the other. So there we go. We've created a way of jumping over the pit, and I'm now to the right-hand side of that.
Edge
Whoa.
of chasm.
I'm going to swing back the other side, just because I really like that sound. And I'm now on the left-hand
Vines.
side where the vines are. Now, one thing that I know people might want is, rather than actually blocking that pit off, people might want a way of actually the player falling down that pit if they choose to not swing at the right point. So what we could do is
Terrain menu dirt.
I can actually deactivate
Walls
the walls for a
deactivated. Edge
second.
Whoa.
of chasm. Edge of cliff 1.
And so here's the wall, the edge of the cliff. I'm going to delete that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a way that if the player stands into the pit, they'll actually die. So we're going to use an object for this.
Objects. Please select the trigger
It's a
object.
trigger object
Please enter a name.
This
This
is
will
like
be spoken
a
if the player
blank
moves on to the
object
trigger edit
that
semicolon.
you can do whatever you want with. So I'm going to call this
F-A-L-L-I-N-G.
falling.
Please select which type of transition you would like.
What type of transition? So
Auto trigger. This will
we're gonna
please
have
enter description. This will be announced
trigger.
if would you like to assign this trigger a radar sound.
the automatic trigger will mean as soon as the player steps on it, a bit like the sizable transition, as soon as they stand on it, it will fire the trigger, and this trigger will basically kill them and make them fall down the pit.
Yes.
So we're not going to set a radar sound. Let's place it here.
Please select if you wish for a cutscene or music change. Enter any text you would like. Select event trigger.
And the event trigger we're going to use is
player damage.
Player damage.
Please enter the amount of damage caused to each party member edit semicolon.
Okay, so we're going to say if you stand on this, which is going to be falling down the pit, it's going to cause 9,999 damage, which would kill anyone.
Please enter the likelihood of the damage hitting the player. This is a percentage, so enter a number of
likelihood
1.
of hitting the player
0.
100%. So you could use these for damage tiles, which is why there's the choice of choosing how much damage, chance of it hitting, etc. It's a bit of an experimental feature, but it's something I'd like to expand upon maybe in future versions of Sable, but it works perfectly for what we're creating here.
Please select sound.
What sound do we want?
Falling 3.
The sound of somebody falling if they stand on this. Let's just test that sound. There we go, that's sufficiently somebody falling down a pit sound.
If the player is killed, would you like the player dead sounds to play? No.
No.
Enter any text you would like spoken. Event trigger added. Falling.
So, there we go. So we've now created, let's just go back a tile.
Edge of chasm.
Here's the edge of the chasm, and if I take one step further, it won't kill me because I'm in edit mode, and in edit mode it won't fire triggers because it would be annoying if you kept dying and stuff like that. But if I step one step forward,
Falling.
there's the falling tile, and in play game mode, if the player had taken that extra step, it would have triggered the event trigger, which would have triggered the falling sound. Player would have lost all the health, and it would have gamed over. So when we play through this, you'll get to see that in action. That will make a little bit more sense then. But anyway,
Chasm.
let's swing over the chasm again to get to the other
Edge
side.
of chasm.
We're now on the right hand side, and this is pretty much where I'm going to end the video. I'm going to add one last thing actually. Let me just
Adding
bring up
sound.
the
Please select
menu.
objects. Please
I'm
select
going to
object
add
chest.
another
Container.
and this is going to give the players something for the end of the map to collect.
Please
So,
enter a name for the container. E-L-I-N-T-H. S-T-O-N-E. Stone. Please enter a description for the container edit semicolon.
description
Star text
already, so let me
Star
just
text blank. A
grab
worn letter bound
that.
book and go home. A worn Sable
Let's
engine,
paste it
Alpha
in here.
1.67.15. To move to an item, press the arrow keys. Sable, a worn leather bound book
Okay,
and golden
so-
statue sunshine.
One of the other things, and people may or may not have noticed this, but the actual input boxes are now internal into Sable. Before they used an external Windows input box, but that made navigating out of Sable into, like I've been doing, into a text document a little bit more tricky because you were navigating 3 different windows. Now they're internal into Sable. It makes navigating between other programs a lot easier, and I've coded in all the Windows functionalities. You can still cut, paste, navigate text with all the different Windows commands, etc. But anyway, let me just select that.
Please select container cursor sound. This is the
we're
sound
gonna give
played
it
stairs.
The sound.
Stone underline swing over pit.
Lid.
Would you like to turn off or set this container a custom radar
we need
sound?
a
Yes.
custom
Please
radar
select rate
sound.
south space. Sparkles.
It's going to be the sound of sparkling as we
Would
get
you like
closer.
to add a unique open and close? Please select items you would like to put in the stone plinth. Golden statue, one leather-bound book.
And a leather-bound book, which the player will be able to both get and read, which we'll see in the playthrough as well.
Leather-bound book, one added.
Select that. Let's place the
Stone
plinth.
plinth.
And there you go, you can hear the sparkling sound as we get close.
Stone plinth.
Let's check its
A
description.
worn leather-bound book and golden statue sparkle atop a large stone plinth bathed in a ray of sunshine.
There we go, and we'll be able to take those when we do the playthrough. And that is where I'm going to end today's video. So I hope you've all enjoyed the video. I definitely enjoyed making it. Like I say, in the next couple of weeks I'll put out the playthrough of this, and that will hopefully show off some of the features we've added, and it will also make them make a little bit more sense, like the chasm and the falling bit will make more sense when you can actually see it in a play game mode, and all the walls and triggers are active, and we can talk to the merchant. I'll also add an intro to the beginning, which will be followed by some text, because again, people have asked whether that's possible, just to kind of paint a picture at the start of a game, and yeah, we'll do that as well. If you've liked the video, please do drop it a like, and if you want to stay up to date on news and new videos when they're released, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also do follow us on social media as well. And I also just wanted to give a quick development update for people wanting news on both Crimson Eclipse and Sable. So as far as Crimson Eclipse go, the game design team and sound designer are busy working away on that. For myself, I've been busy working away on Sable over the past couple of months. It's actually a really exciting time for Sable, as Sable is now feature complete. I'm just currently doing a final internal round of just going through and bug testing, and I want to do a code cleanup. But after that, the next phase that we'll be looking at for Sable, which will be coming up soon, will be that we'll actually be looking for external QA testers. So this won't be beta testing, it'll be QA testing, so we'll be looking for a small team of people to actually play around with Sable and try and find any bugs that I can then fix. Again, that's not quite yet, but we're almost there. Once I finish this, like I say, final round of bug testing and done a bit of a code cleanup, then we'll be looking at that. So like I say, we're not quite taking testers yet, but as soon as we are, we'll post here and on social media and on the Audio Games forum too. So if you're interested in that, once we put that out, please do reply. It'd be good to have some people get to test Sable for the first time. But anyway, as ever, I've really enjoyed making the video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Any questions, just please feel free to comment or drop us a mail. Social media links and everything are in the description. Again, thanks for watching.